day. We just have a little bit of content to go over in the beginning. Just I want to talk about planned giving a little bit, and then we get to, you'll have a little bit of time, maybe about 20-30 minutes to work on your pitches. And then we'll jump into our pitch fest, and then your graduation, everybody gets their certificates. Right. How's everybody feeling?
Yay!
I know this is winter for y'all, right? It's cold. No. I'm like, what's happening? I know, I was like, I don't need these 2 boxes of scarves. So I was, and I'm like, yeah. I know. So what are planned gifts? Let's get this party started. Do what? Oh, they closed the road? Oh, no. It seems like a lot of activity happening today. Even in this building. I'm just like... So, what is planned giving?
What I do every day.
What'd you do? the joy of your life, I hear. Yes. All right. So planned giving is the process of making a significant charitable gift during a donor's life or death as part of his or her financial and estate plan. Today we're going to learn the basic types of planned gifts, understand why a donor might choose a certain type of planned gift, and identify planned giving prospects. So planned gifts are sophisticated gifts. They can be very large, much bigger than a cash gift during a donor's lifetime. They take time and trust to cultivate. Because they are sophisticated, planned gifts are often untapped. They take a number of different forms. They can be outright gifts of assets, such as appreciated securities or artwork. Other types of planned gifts provide a financial benefit or tax deductions for donors. So much activity. I hear all this like.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. Have you guys seen this pyramid before? So it's helpful in understanding the likelihood of gifts and the amount of trust required to solicit a planned gift. Attention. However, it implies that planned gifts come after major gifts. So naturally that our major gift donors are also our prospect pool for our planned gifts, which is not true. Instead of looking at it as a pyramid, of thinking about it more about these intrinsic circles, while there might be fewer planned gifts than cash gifts, every donor is a planned giving prospect. So imagine the fundraiser being at the center of the smallest circle, and that these circles represent relationships. The closest and strongest relationships will also be most likely the planned gifts. So some planned giving myths. Planned gifts are only for older people. Planned gifts are only for super wealthy people. We need cash, we can't worry about planned giving now. Planned giving cannibalizes annual giving. I need more training before I can feel comfortable talking about planned giving. Planned gifts are mostly made because of tax deductions. Excuse me. I need to know everything about taxes. Our organization doesn't have the capacity to implement a planned giving program. So, planned giving truths. If you aren't asking, somebody else will. Planned gifts often lead to larger annual gifts. Planned gifts are good in any economy. A typical planned gift is 200 to 300% larger than a donor's largest annual gift. Planned gifts don't affect cash flow. Donors want to make planned gifts, they just don't know how. Anyone can make a planned gift who is working on their will and trust. There's lots of help available. So why is it important? Because planned gifts, especially bequests, can be the largest of a donor's lifetime. Your planned gift pool may be as much as 5 times larger than your capital pool. The average bequest in the U.S. is between $35,000 and $70,000. 33% consider a charitable bequest. Only 5.3 of those over 50 have made a charitable bequest commitment. So obviously there's a lot of untapped potential. My goodness. Yeah.
It says only 5.3% of those over 50 have made, so those are people age over 50?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's okay. So now everybody, when you do your pitches, you'll have to do it to the beat.
Great, great, great.
Yeah, it's all, you're like all about it.
Yes. Dancing machine right here. Oh.
So before we kind of get into the types of planned gifts, just some of the terminology, you know, a will versus a trust. The beneficiary, obviously the person in the organization that is legally appointed to receive the benefits by the will and contract. A legal document stating how you want your affairs handled and assets distributed after you die. The trust, a fiduciary relationship in which you give another party authority to handle your assets for the benefit of your beneficiaries. So a properly executed trust avoids probate.
What's probate?
Probate is court, where you have to go legal.
Yes. It's two things. Not only is it court, but it's also public record.
Yeah.
So people know what your affairs are. And one of the major reasons people do trust is to avoid everybody
Being
knowing.
known. Yeah. You have that autonomy. All right, so a few other terms. Revocable can be changed or canceled, and irrevocable cannot. Fair market value is the selling price agreed upon by buyer and seller. Real property is the fixed property like land and buildings. Tangible personal property is the stuff inside the buildings, your furniture, equipment, vehicles, etc. 3 main vehicles of planned gifts are charitable bequest, which is the official statement in a will, a trust, or an estate plan that designates a gift to a specific charity. Charitable gift annuity. This is when a donor gives a large amount of money to the nonprofit. The nonprofit then pays the donor an annual set of income from the sum until the pay period ends, usually at the time of the donor's death. And then the nonprofit retains leftover funds. Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious if any of these organizations do charitable gift annuities, but not they themselves. If they have another entity
Handle that part.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
The Federation offers annuities and we administer ourselves.
Right, and I can't do that, but I'm wondering if anyone does it where somebody else administers.
Does anybody else in their organization? No.
Who would you ask? Like a financial advisor to do it, or how does that work?
There are many
trust-
banks and trust
Yeah.
companies that offer the service. They're expensive, but they do offer the service.
So like U.S. Trust is one that does it for 2 or 3% of the entire business.
Okay, thank you.
We just met this week with our financial advisors who provide our 403B, and they specifically spoke about this to us in the report. So that's your direct resource would be who provides your service to your organization, because that would is the natural person to give business to.
And then the third vehicle being the charitable remainder trust. This is the trust gifted to a charity that pays an annual amount to the trustees. Once the trust is complete, the charity receives the remaining funds. So the charitable bequest is the official statement in a will, a trust, or an estate plan that designates a gift to a specific charity. It's easy, it doesn't go into effect until after your lifetime, and it can be revocable or changeable. So gift amounts are stated in three main ways in the charitable bequest: a specific amount, a percentage, and the remainder amount of leftover funds after all the donor has, all the other bequests, all the other beneficiaries have been satisfied. Charitable gift annuities.
You got dance now. You just have, there you go. There you go.
No. Just get those shoulders moving. Charitable gift annuity occurs when a donor makes an agreement with a nonprofit. The donor gives a large amount of money to the nonprofit. The nonprofit then pays the donor an annual gift, set income for that sum until the pay period ends, again, usually at death, and then the nonprofit retains the leftover funds. Charitable gift annuities can take various forms, and states will have different laws regarding each type of charitable gift annuity. An organization has to apply to become eligible to receive CGAs, and so talk to your local community foundations. So if you think of a CGA as like a wrapping paper, and a donor makes a gift contribution, it's wrapped up in the CGA, then as per the terms of the wrapper, the donor receives a fixed income for a set years or until the donor passes away, then the remainder goes to the organization. So in this, the donor retains income for life, probably at a higher rate of return. They may receive part of the income in a tax-advantaged way, so a portion of it might be tax-free. Remove assets from estate for probate or estate tax purposes. It can bypass partial capital gains, satisfaction of making a gift, or some of the benefits of a CGA.
Megan, in that regard, what is the obligation of the nonprofit that is managing that gift?
Sorry.
What is the obligation of the nonprofit managing that gift to assure the fixed income to the donor?
Well, it's a legal document. It's
No,
okay.
it's a legal document. But
Yeah.
what if, so the nonprofit is managing that gift, and for managing that gift is giving the full fixed income for the
Right, they
payment to
basically,
the donor?
yes.
They're not only managing, but the strength of the organization backs the gift. So you have to have a strong organization to be able to back it.
What if it goes down? Something goes
Well-
wrong.
Well, in the market, or
Yeah.
I think that there's language in the contract that we talk. It is all very market driven.
It's a legal document,
Yeah.
so by law, by the document itself, the organization must pay the individual or the couple
A percentage.
that fixed guarantee for the rest of their lives, regardless of market fluctuations. 2008 came, we got hit hard like many of our organizations did. We had to pay out our gift annuities. It's a legal contract. The donor has the right to sue you if you don't,
If you don't
pay
meet your
correct.
obligation.
And it's a specified dollar amount per year for the rest of their life. Legal document.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Do the payouts ever exceed the amount of the annuity?
So, we have, so Federation has sold annuities for the last 30 years, let's say. We have had donors that have lived beyond life expectancy. Sometimes, and we joke internally, sometimes we say, buy an annuity, you'll live forever, because some of our donors do that. It does happen. It's the law of large numbers. You're going to have that bell curve, the average, and that's what we follow the American Council on Gift Annuities. I would say 3/4 of major nonprofits follow that, but there are also other charities that follow their own guidelines. We follow the American Council of Gift Annuities. Rates are set, it's based on the donor's age, but the rates are set that on average, the charity should expect about 50% of that original gift. So if a donor does $100,000, the charity should expect $50,000. Again, average. People do live a lot longer, so it's the law of large numbers.
What is the strength of your organization? Your
We
dollars?
have a $130 million foundation that backs it up.
So a charitable remainder trust is similar to the CGA, except that the money is in a trust. And so the annual, the annuity is going to the trustees, and then at the end of that life, then the balance goes to the charity. So succinct. Same sort of concept there with the as the CGA. Other ways to give, you have charitable IRA rollover, life insurance being the nonprofit organization or charity being the beneficiary of a life insurance policy, retirement plans, and real property. Who are planned giving prospects? So Donor Search is a firm providing wealth screening services. They produce a number of resources and white papers on planned giving. They identify factors of planned givers into two buckets.
You're saying it's Donor Search?
Donor Search. So 2 buckets, cause connections, similar to the other things that we've talked about in the whole cost selling cycle, and statistical inclinations. So cause connections are donors in your organization that have made frequent donations. They have a conviction to your mission, desire to give larger a gift than is currently realistic if they're thinking about the future, and positively affected by your organization's work, internal constituents to your organization. Statistical inclinations are just, bless you, are just the personal characteristics that increase the likelihood of a planned gift. There are 5 statistical inclinations: older in age, single or widowed, no children, appreciated property, and women. Take that as you will, just traditionally women have, yeah. So how to start your planned giving program. Form a committee or an advisory board. Identify gift recognition assets. Will you have a legacy society? Build a marketing plan. And I'm curious about what you guys do in the Jewish Federation about how do you promote your planned giving campaign? Is there do you talk about it in a legacy format, or?
We train all of our askers. It's part of, hopefully it's part of every annual ask. There isn't really we don't market it per se out into the community. It's really it's really a personal one-on-one conversation. So all of our askers are trained not to do that. Some do it better than others. Some don't do it at all. But it's encouragement to bring that up in conversation, sort of like, did you know you could leave a legacy to our Jewish community as part of your estate? It's as simple as that, and then see where that conversation goes.
Include information on your website. Yeah, review plans with close donors. How to find planned giving prospects. A mailer with response. Include info in other printed material. Again, a lot of people might be interested in going this route and just not, it can seem overwhelming or complicated and not really sure how to even go about it. So you being that resource for them so they can start thinking about their legacy and other options that they can do with their assets. Email campaign or in a newsletter. Information and contact form on your website. And And then obviously needs discovery, you know, when you're having and I think that's good that it's embedded into all of those one-on-one relationships, because you just never, you know, you need to embed all the aspects of how to give to your organization in the conversations that you're having with your potential donors. Because again, it's all so very personal and specific to an individual, and unless you can just totally overlook an opportunity by not mentioning something. All right, questions on that? Anything anybody wants to share about planned giving?
Can I just add to
Please.
this? We sort of brushed over the IRA rollover.
Yeah.
It has become a really awesome opportunity for any of your donors that are 70 and a half or older. I think there was a new law passed January 1st that they're not 70 and a half or older by January 1st. It's now 72 years of age or older. But by law, if you have an IRA, Uncle Sam says you must take a distribution. It's called a required minimum distribution. There are donors, many of our donors, who fit that age category, who have to take the distribution. If they don't take that distribution, they pay a huge penalty. And for those that take the distribution, they pay income taxes on it. And for some of our larger donors, it is becoming an even greater benefit to those donors that are of that age to take it, to instead of taking that distribution, directly give from their IRA to your organization, to a 501c3. They don't pay taxes on it, number one. Number two is, unfortunately, they don't receive a charitable tax deduction. We all know that our taxes changed, I believe it was 2 years ago. The standard deduction went a lot higher, so many of our donors are no longer itemizing. So the IRA rollover is a great opportunity for donors that are no longer able to no longer able to itemize deductions. And it's also great for our wealthier donors because they have to take it, and for a lot of our donors who are wealthier, they don't actually need that extra money. And that extra money causes
More of a headache.
potential tax.
Oh, can you imagine? I don't need
We
this.
should all be, anybody who's 70 and a half or older, the question should be in the conversation, do you have an IRA, and did you know you can give directly to us from your IRA? Talk to your IRA trustee. It's as simple as that. I'm happy, if you have my information, talk to me. Every conversation that I'm having for any donor that's 70 and a half or older, I ask that question each and every time. For many of our donors, they don't have an IRA, but for those that do have an IRA, that's part of the conversation. I will tell you, this last year, 2019, was the first year that Federation saw over $200,000 of new dollars come in December alone from IRAs. So it's really an attractive option. We should all be saying to our donors, do you have an IRA, and did you know you can give directly from your IRA to us? So talk to tax-free. Talk to me about it if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you.
Megan, I've always had the mentality that, especially with women, because women are philanthropic, and the organizations that I work with encourage them to have retail partners that speak with women, because a lot of times women that are single, they don't necessarily do like life insurance policies because it's like, well, where will the assets go? Right. And so, you know, I mean, I'm pretty blunt, you know. Do you want to give it back to the government? I mean, you really should plan, and because women are really passionate as well about causes and organizations. So I've always, you know, suggested, you know, combining retail partners, meaning, you know, various life insurance companies, and then in addition to your women's philanthropic circles, advocate for that, because women can take out a life insurance policy, obviously, if you're younger, for a lot less, and then turn those over to the organization. And it's not so much money that we will realize in our lifetime,
right,
but for sustainability, and it's a way, again, to get women really vested in your organization, because then they can become, you know, your annual and major gifts and such, because women are just, I mean, we suck at it. I'm sorry, you know? A lot of us are single, and I mean, I have, because my husband passed away, and had I not had some financial planning, I don't know where I'd be right now. And so it is a priority to me, but women just don't think that way.
Yeah.
So if you're, you know, if you want to dabble into it, it's a great way to start. with something very innocuous, because you don't do it. All you do is you have the conversations when you have your women's meeting.
Well, and what's great about that too is the point about, you know, when they can think about their legacy, then they're going to be more engaged in your organization during their life, you know, whether through service or financially.
There are some really good vehicles out there if you wanted to share information with your donors. You basically buy a newsletter. We can customize 2 or 4 pages, so we're not really writing all the content. Sharp, Newkirk, and others have vehicles like that that you can incorporate in your communications with your donors, so you're not always asking for things. You're providing them information that they can use and that they want. So that might be a good thing to do.
I think especially for planned giving, because then they're like, oh, and it's something that you do kind of think about. It's not a spur of the moment thing. I mean, it definitely is something that you're thinking about, you know, pretty holistically. Anything else we want to talk about before we work on our pitches? We are going to send out a survey to you guys too, and we really need your feedback. This is the first academy we've had. We want to continue to improve on it. So hopefully you'll find those questions helpful and take some time to respond so we can, you know, do good for y'all. All right, everybody pair up, you know, work on your pitches, take breaks as you need. We're gonna, let's see, how about 9:30? 9:30 we're going to start. And FYI, no PowerPoint. This is a pitch. This is if you have no technology, okay? Okay. I know.
Parents to the speaker.
That's what I realized.
Okay, go ahead. You go with yours. I'll tell you what I do.
Their problems.
It's okay.
Your wise story. It's hard.
That's okay. They don't know.
No, I mean,
I just go off the cuff, man.
Now I can. Oh, that's right. Now I can. No, what I'm just too happy to make this I like to do it. That's it, go with it. You should really do that well. Yeah, you should. Yeah, I mean, they're saying that so your whole pitch is about awareness.
Not to serve, but to serve as an actual consideration. We also have I like having it hard with the players. I like struggling with this. Classic knows my wildlife to help us
It's all relative.
Risers on for like 9 minutes, then I'm gonna finish it.
Are you bothering us?
You did it in about 15 minutes and 45 seconds, which is really good. That's why I said I don't want you watching. Yeah, that's something about whatever you said, something about that. I had to really think what word was she saying because it's so quickly. Yeah. No, you did. You did. Because we learned about what we are, and then we learned about how to command. I think you can all of the areas. That was the only word.
The only thing is like travel back in. That's the biggest reason why.
Opportunity and do it with emphasis. Opportunity like it's disgusting.
But I got more people asking.
So you see what I'm saying? So if you say
That's why it's so
it's like
they already had it.
resonate because you're waiting for what does that mean? Yeah. But let that word rest right there. Yeah, let it rest. And what is it? Just take a breathe. Just breathe right there. Just look. And then you're under so you can take that breath right there. And you can do this right here. You can do like 3 times. And just say, do it with me. Oh, what's the number? Well, whatever it is. I mean, I'm just saying because I don't know what it is. But you get us to learn. That's a real thing? You need to know what's real. And he was not able to continue doing his work. So we learned actually to make him better. They came up with a solution with a company called the 7 Gem Solution. It was the children who connected the father and the children. And 3 of the 14 like I think they their mom as a result, they started creating the Fresh Advance. The Fresh Advance. So they still yeah, but I'm going to show you everything.
I totally get it. Yeah. And that's what I would like to sit down and really like you have a heart for maybe yourself fitting in or extract the dollar amount and the amount that I didn't ask for one thing.
But and they connected initially directly during the summer, the work that was required every day was not but they also knew that the provider of the case said that these were only times that could come so there's a whole couple that actually provides services for more than this. We're trying to find another program that partners with our program to help them in their program. The seven Gem Solutions has a program called the Fresh Advance. We're asking you to consider partnering with us for the year. It will cost $50,000 Is that what they go through?
Yeah, of course. So,
how to get the in, how to make things, when to take them and when to we're helping provides helping thinking, provides helping living. We want to give these youth an opportunity after they finish the program, they usually go to during the summer. And they just go there and lunches for the shop, and they will find themselves they'll be eating healthy, they'll be taking healthy, and they'll be living healthy. Okay, after this program, what's the bonus program? The youth and they want to take their
tell you that, but so
so you said I got a lot of money.
I saw the email. I was like,
Not like that. I do a little extra because I gotta make the lunch.
I don't know, how are they still drumming? Like, what is going on?
I think they
Look that important.
alternates. I think you can't just be this way.
I wonder if it's okay, that's a good question.
My luck.
To come back to the
Anything else? Right?
Okay. Is that a bad thing? What? No, it's a bad thing.
No.
If it's okay. Oh, okay. I thought so too. That's why. That's the whole push that I did introduce myself.
So I want to pay for it to use our position.
He said,
They have Lebanon trees that were graduating in Glasgow like 3 years ago. That's when they're taller than me, so they haven't produced the sun. Lemon trees that died. What the? Oh my god.
And you might be interested in seeing what he does.
How much is
There might be something
You're not send that to me. That is one of my airdrops to everyone.
Fresh advanced program.
Oh, I sure
Yeah. I got it.
That's so good. We went
I mean,
like the
fresh advanced. Fresh advanced. We come
everyone's like, I know it.
This is what I
So this is cool. There's an entire esports team. And they have all of these streets where there's like $50 an hour. Well, they so that and we like 2 days we like talked to the guy who ran the place and like we got like an all access app like 2 days we like talked to everybody, talked to the manager, talked to the kids that were running. Why don't we make one? Like literally we were talking to about it because there's nothing Twitter. They like broadcast videos, they have like commentators, yo, like it was so fun. I know a guy that partnered with this on. It was so he owns a
very hard.
I don't have any politics. I mean, he gets a photo and goes, please see photos too.
But also, I've known Dustin for
Really?
Of course he's gonna profit. You wouldn't get profit.
Because he sells his product at the same time. Yeah, bro. I mean, like, he's, what does he do? Like, I'm not into social media.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think you have to go to CFRE. So at the very top left, that's an accredited body that is a certified fundraising executive. And so this course accounted for 32 hours. And so you just have to check all the boxes here and everything. And then I think once I get that into CFRE, and there's like other ways in order to get your accreditation. You have to like work 5 years in the fundraising field and have like 50,000 raised. And then there's like 50 hours. So this is 32 of those videos. So if you just hold on to that or take a picture, if you never do want to see it from the CFRE exam, that's 32 of the credit hours that you would need.
So at least if I can't print it, you can see
Have it, no, we have it, we just.
I don't know. I don't know what the requirements are, but I know
Okay,
that
okay.
that's going to help a lot. If you choose to. Yeah, I would. Yeah, just CFRE website. You're very welcome. Yeah, we got to hand signed all the certificates. Yeah, and then we're going to be taking pictures of the air properly. Quick little. Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's just a quick picture. I'll hand you the certificate. We'll take a quick snap just so we have, some record of all of the final things.
Okay, so let me just. So I start with the as a child, I remember, and then I go into SOS Children Villages International, and I put your sport.
I don't think I understand. I'm sorry.
Organization by leveraging my also graduation rate of 5%, of which 90% of people have.
Oh, gotcha. We learned exactly.
Areas of people before that, I would put also it will reduce the
Yeah, we're not going to run another fundraising project for 4 years.
just a quick comment.
You caught me.
Our educational nutrition, housing,
Yeah. No, I mean, this went great. This was like best case scenario. We did not know how this whole event was going to go down.
So you're free to try to
Yeah, I mean, I made that in like 2 minutes. Like, I really just went in front of the thing and like did a couple of takes. Like, that's good. Figure it out. I'm glad that it worked out. Because like we probably had like 6 students like that, and we got rid of like 30. And so we got we're like, oh crap, like we have like a lot of students, and we're like, whatever. We'll put it on LinkedIn. What's the worst that could happen? The next thing I know, I got 100 people on the form. Obviously, not everyone was coming. And my phone was like, and I put my personal phone number on it. I'm like, my phone was non-stop ringing for like a good 2-3 weeks. And I'm like, are you trying to get on top of this? Yeah, but I mean, I can't even tell you how thankful I am that all you two things are up when you're there. I'm like,
then I'll better ready to will allow us to expand our services, information services.
Well, how much you pay those
Students or children, to all the benefits, which will directly benefit crime rates. I should say which are reduce the cost of so if you were to think about family, One, I would say just if you were to take 150 families, it would probably cost about $50 million a year. If we were to provide support for them, they would say this amount. Or maybe I should rephrase it. Maybe I should say the savings. They're talking about the savings. And I would say instead of like whether it's insights and so I don't have to quantify anymore. I take out the because it's amazing. The impact
and however much money you're asking for, it weighs to the number of
Girl had a green dress and picked it up. Yeah, oh, okay. I had to use it. I just thought it was so
Okay,
fun.
guys, if y'all want to take, if anybody wants to take a bathroom break or anything, then we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. Okay. And then you're going to get your certificate. Yes.
Yes. I love that.
So we have our nonprofit and the schools are our for-profits. So we have investor per se donate to a nonprofit, and then we have to invest that money. We invest into our own for-profit, and that way they get the tax reduction and all that stuff.
No, they're trying. They're basically having an interest in a local kind of deal. You give them money to nonprofit, and so everyone who gives the money gets tax deductible, and then they use that money nonprofit to invest in for-profit businesses to diversify the nonprofit revenue.
We invest in our own for-profits.
Oh, like the ones you own.
Yeah.
You didn't talk to the IRS.
That's interesting.
It's an ethical question for sure.
Yeah. Because no one knows, no one owns the nonprofit. It's a nonprofit, obviously. But then we own the for-profit. So I would do it for their benefit, right? So like, instead of us doing debt equity, the for-profit are the schools. Our non-profit
is the school system. Our schools are for-profit. The school system is a non-profit.
So we say we're a non-profit school system because it's the managing partner.
You're putting a light job. I think I'm this guy.
No, but it's similar. I mean, it's just, those foundations, like ISDs start foundations so that they can distribute money. It's very similar things.
Yeah, we based
so
off
that
of
people give to the foundation and then they fund the ISDs.
Yep.
And so it's comparable. So given that it's a school, and then for me, like I said,
yeah, we would explain it to them.
Yeah, so that to me is totally acceptable. Like, we would be giving to to a foundation, the foundation gives out to,
But it makes more sense to me.
I think when, like, for example, the same example like ISD foundations, they are basing it on so if you're funding is not competitive, you're just submitting a proposal, like the school submitting something to the foundation.
Okay, that makes
See what I'm
sense.
saying?
Yeah, saying what we're gonna use money for.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
makes
not
sense.
just like,
Yeah, so it doesn't look like we're just trying to pay ourselves for more profit. That makes sense. So it makes more sense to me instead of going to that to the funder and making them and like not giving them a tax break for their donation or investment, and then also I don't want to give them equity. So then we do that where they get paid every single year, but they also get tax. Yeah, that would make sense.
but then,
Who gets paid over? Investors?
The person that's donating the money.
How do they
Through the charitable gift.
so that basically they can take.
No, I know, but you're saying they get paid.
The donors.
The donors get paid until they die, and then when they die,
So what I'm saying is use that upfront money to fund.
well, yeah, like you're just basically, it's like a delayed request. Like you're getting like a stipend. But it's going to get you
But what I was saying is like use that money upfront to build the school. Once the school starts generating income, like it'll generate income that year. And it doesn't even matter.
But I think it's also a great way for the schools to ensure, like the management of their schools, to ensure that they're programming and all that still measurable, and like they're still feeling like they have to, competition breeds innovation, right? So, you don't just figuring out things for them. So I think, says Mr. Capitalist. Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to them about it. The only problem I see though is we're paying them out rather than.
You just have to have another business that is investing in young people.
We'll just
And you
start.
have another business that's having life insurance.
We'll just start an MLM.
Have you looked at your dollars today?
No, I know. I told him.
Literally had to go back to all
We called each other. We FaceTimed this morning. He showed up and I told him what we were doing.
Look at chart, gentlemen.
Just to let you know, sessioning is not needed. We have the. Okay, so that's the only thing, so you know exactly what
And funny enough, I'm like,
are like a certain weight, so I'm not like, which is also why if I were to make it like it's okay that you have your requirements, I can't like slide issues. At least you're a driver. And they're like, I was like, you're freaking right.
I do a lot of things, but I'm like, I got this word for word, and I'm like,
There's no hope for your children.
You want to get hormones 7 years, like even if you married to the same woman, like
Got it. We have so many. Yeah. So we have to also now. So we just have. We're so we have. I'm 6 feet tall. She's like, Okay, let's get started. So I can make the top. We had our friends there for a couple weeks in the gym. Oh, she was 5'2", and she was like, some of those so what we have, that's why I was asking her some stuff.
Okay, I thought you were saying for this. I didn't know you were I mean, I can just call these people. You want me to use this anyways, or you want me to get me or this?
Special occasions, like once a year. That's awesome. That is what goes on top of the
and then
That's hilarious. And even sometimes, like, if it's shelving, like,
I like different cabinets and all different.
yeah, Stephen Gardner just took home. I'm like, I'm just my whole life. It's like, just that much more height that he can reach the first level, where I have to climb up. And he's just like, you're doing no. It's like, it's this thing fragile, and then yeah, you should get sick. Something like, no. But then it's like, the fancy, like, so I
believe in training so much that I can't wait to hear it. All right. Is there a microphone?
There's one under the. All right, guys, here we go. Woo! Tracy's gonna call folks up to do their pitch. We're gonna time you and make it fun.
Okay, everybody, listen up. We are now going to have our first pitch with Kids in Distress. Yes. So come on up. We are going to have 2 minutes apiece, and we are going to do very rapid fire, like and then we'll see how many we
have
get
a buzzer, it's gonna go like bang.
Are you gonna be like?
We have a big cane. We're just gonna hook you on stage.
Yeah, big sigh, right? Hi, everybody. I'm Elsa. I'm Elsa, and I get to be part of the team.
Hey guys, everybody's supposed to come up individually.
Oh,
Okay.
she's maybe right.
Everybody else is gonna get so mad at me.
If everybody's just standing
Yeah.
here. Got it. Okay. All right. I'm Elsa, and I get to be part of the team at Kids in Distress, who for 40 years has been dedicated to preserving the family, preventing abuse, and treating children who have been abused and neglected in our community. We started as a 24-hour shelter many years ago. We put ourselves out of that shelter business because we want to see children in safe and healthy environments and in loving homes. It's why we've grown into a multi-program agency that focuses on foster care and family strengthening, with programs like our kinship program that provides relative care giving for children who have been removed from their families but placed with a caring family member, or through our education programs that host over 200 kids daily on our campus on our preschool and our aftercare programs. And my personal favorites, our Family Counseling Center that provides mental health counseling to children that are transitioning, are in crisis, or families that need it. And then these team of magical clinicians sometimes also go out into the community and help in crises like our Stoneman Douglas
tragedy that happened a couple of years ago. Our programs are comprised of over 300 team members of professionals, and we serve over 20,000 children annually. KID is committed to sustaining our programs and with the excellence that we are known for. And we can only do that with the help of foundations, community partners, corporations, and individuals like you who share your time, talent, and treasure with KID. So I invite you to be part of what makes KID possible. Thank you.
Great job, Elsa.
Hashtag Duck Fest.
Thank you. I have cards for everybody.
Are you gonna come up front? I'm already kicked out of the stage. What? See my shirt? Oh, hi, I'm Flavia. I'm also with KID. I'm the newest member of the advancement team at KID. I come from the corporate world and just transitioned, and I love what KID stands for. And as I'm learning about what we do, I started thinking, and I'm going to ask you to join me in imagining a world where foster families are not needed. And while at KID we license 50% of the foster homes in Broward County, it would be wonderful to see that those folks are not needed because we can keep those children at home. Children are removed when there is imminent danger of physical or sexual abuse and neglect, and when their homes are not considered safe. And that's where our prevention programs at KID come in. Our prevention programs vary from intensity, from the Home Builders program that step in with families that are at imminent risk of having their children removed. And we spend 28 days of intensive focus with those families, to helping moms, first-time single moms, that perhaps don't have that family support that they would need so they can become the best moms possible. A lot of families that have issues with neglect and abuse, a lot of the parents come from a background of abuse themselves. They are overwhelmed in survival mode and frustrated, but oftentimes they desire change. And that's where our programs came in. You heard from Elsa that we impacted last year 20,000 children and families. Our prevention programs impacted families with therapy sessions, substance control abuse, and I would love if you would join me in making sure that children are safe and empowering families.
Awesome.
Thank you.
By the list, we have Jackie Stinnett up to the front. All right, she slipped out of this one. April Graham. Is April here now?
Got a lot of names.
Karen Flowers.
Oh, someone's coming in from the hallway.
It's okay.
Who is it?
Oh, this is mine. Yeah, you're gonna go after. All right. Woo! 2 minutes, short and sweet.
2 minutes is kind of hard for me, but anyway, I'll try.
You got it.
So good morning, my name is Karen Flowers. I'm here from the N-Stork Center. The reason that I'm coming to you this morning is not to look for sympathy, but to look for a way to help our early intervention program at our center. A few years ago, the early intervention service was taken away due to cuts from DOEs. So at our center, presently we have 10 kids enrolled in early intervention. Early intervention is 0 to 3 years old. Why early intervention? Because early intervention has saved our kids, from reaching, they could reach their capacity and their progress within that time frame. So I'm here to ask if we can have at least 2 of our kids sponsored by you. This will help build our program and help these kids progress to where they need to be in the next 3 to 4 years. I did have a slide, but I'm not allowed to show the slide to show you how early intervention works. It works from the day they come in to 6 months later. You can see a big transition, and these kids need it. So all I'm asking for is for you to come in, see what we have to offer, and see where our kids will be. The kids are our future.
All right.
All right, Jackie Stinnett.
Good morning.
All right, this is a caveat, not the official pitch. This is intended specifically for corporate sponsorship for talent acquisition types, recruiters, diversity, and inclusion, just so you know where I'm going with this. So show of hands, how many are veterans in the room? Military spouses? Did you say you're a veteran? No? Okay. Active duty, reserve, National Guard? Okay. So that's in keeping with pretty much national statistics that less than 2% actually serve in the military, because there's just a very sparse show of hands. My name is Jackie Stinnett. I'm the Vice President and on the Board of Directors of Academy Women, and I'm an Army veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, and thank you for your service. When I left the service decades ago, I had no clue the unexpected emotional toll that would accompany my transition out. I lost a sense of identity once my uniform was off, once I didn't have rank on my shoulders, once I didn't have people saluting me, once I didn't have a lot of things that I had no idea I would actually grow, it would be difficult for me to navigate. I lost a sense of purpose and I lost a sense of community. I had tremendous job opportunities when I left. I worked with GE's financial management program, hated it. Decided to go on to business school, thought I hated it, left after 1 year, and took a sabbatical to try and figure out why I was ungrateful. I ended up going back after I started working with kids in distress during my sabbatical. And then I reconnected again to that sense of purpose and sense of meaning and fulfillment that I had in my life, that I realized I actually need that. And what I realized once I started working with Academy Women was this is not an uncommon phenomenon for those who have served in the military. So what I came to learn was it takes a veteran on average about 7 years to fully transition out of the military. When they leave the military, they lose their military safety net. They lose people who have got their back literally in life and death situations. They lose a sense of belonging. They lose a sense of purpose. And they lose a sense of service to something that is just greater than themselves. So that's why I really decided to begin working very fervently with Academy Women, first as volunteer, and now, as I said, as a VP and on their board of directors. Academy Women is a nonprofit leadership and professional development organization that bridges the gap of support by providing programs and resources that connect military women to networks of substantive resources, impact, and influence. One of those programs is the Career Workshop. This is an annual event that provides a job fair, professional development workshops, career coaches, resources, and access to military-friendly employers. Once you attend the Career Workshop, you'll have access to over 200 highly qualified military women leaders. 97% have their bachelor's degrees, 71% have their graduate degrees. Of that, 8% have their PhDs. Beyond gender diversity, 33% are racially and ethnically diverse. And these are professional leaders who are able to hit the ground running from day one to lead in a cross-cultural environment. I'm being given the signal, but I'm at least going to make the ask. I want you to join companies who we partner with, like Amazon, Microsoft, Department of Homeland Security, the top tier 100 Fortune 500 companies. I would encourage you to give at least at the $50,000 level. That grants you not just one-day access, but access to our other 4-day programs as well. What are your thoughts?
All right, so because she has to leave early, we're going to put Jessica Stein on the spot. Big round of applause.
All right, come
Good morning. My name's Jessica, and I work at JAFCO, and we are Jewish Adoption and Family Care Options. So every day in the United States, 5 children die due to abuse or neglect. And because of JAFCO's work over the last 27 years in the community, we have saved the lives of over 7,000 children through our programming, which includes, we run 6 group homes with 6 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms each. So every child in JAFCO's care gets their own bedroom and their own bathroom. Sometimes this is the first time they've ever had a bed, they've ever had a room, that they get to decorate and do whatever they want because it's their home until they're 21 years old. Unlike most organizations in foster care, at 18, you're an adult, good luck. But at 18, they are not ready for that. So their room stays exactly the same because we have a 100% graduation rate. Everyone in JAFCO's care not only graduates high school, but goes on to continue their education in whatever is going to be the best for them. So when the kids come home from college, we don't strip their beds and say we have a free room. Their room stays exactly the same for them. We also run an emergency shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, where children can be brought to us 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning at any time in need. Now, how can you help us continue our mission? You can donate. You can donate to any of our programs because every dollar that you're giving, between 94 and 96 cents of every single dollar you donate to JAFCO goes directly back to our children. Now, you see those pledge cards in front of you. If everyone in this room today was to fill out a pledge card and donate a minimum of $100, we could raise an additional $20,000 today. And if you want to be part of saving the next generation of children, please fill out your pledge cards. And anyone who fills out a pledge card today also will be entered to win an Apple Watch.
Where's my card? Jake Jones.
Jake Jones.
I am. Oh yeah, there is no rhyme or reason today.
So I was going to start this off completely different until I had an experience yesterday that I want to share with you guys. So I was in Liberty City yesterday. Anyone know where Liberty City is? Been there? So you guys know it's one of the most violent cities in Florida. It's actually in the video game GTA, Grand Theft Auto, because it's so violent. So we want to build a community as a whole. So what do? We put a school inside of Liberty City. And so I was there yesterday, and we had someone run towards the school, go across the road, and shoot a gun in the air. Yesterday. Now, we called the police. Anyone want to know how long it took for them to show up? Any guesses?
30 minutes.
Not 20 minutes, not 30 minutes, but 40 minutes. It took the police to get to a school where a gun was fired across the road, where our kids saw it, our security guards saw it, many people in the classroom still. So that doesn't show the level of investment that we're putting towards our youth, but it shows how we look at our struggling youth today, our kids in education today, the ones that really struggle. These kids have sometimes no money to eat, don't have beds, don't have clean clothes. So when it takes 40 minutes for police to show up, it really shows what we're working towards right now. So kids make up 1/3 of our population, but they're 100% of our future.
That's right.
Now, we rank 27th in education in the world today. We were first about 30 years ago. Now, if that was a company that was first 30 years ago and now ranks 27th, everyone would be fired. It'd be completely changed. So what we're doing is we're trying to build the youth. Has anyone heard you can't love anyone else unless you love yourself? Well, we believe that you can't love anyone, you can't love yourself if you don't understand yourself. These kids don't understand themselves. So what we do is we help these kids not only with core curriculum, bringing them up, we also have social emotional intelligence so they can understand themselves. Belief intelligence so they can know how to create a belief and shift their emotions when they need to. So what we're really trying to do is build these students so we can build the communities as a whole. And so what I want to leave you guys with is an investment or a donation is not only going to help this kid, it's not an investment in their future, but it's an investment in your future as well. Because if we can help build these struggling communities, we can help build your future. Because these kids are the future of they're the future, sorry. Messed up on that part. But with the donation of at least $50,000, you guys can help begin a school in another children's community that can help build the community and the kids as a whole. Thank you.
All right, let's hear from Gilda's Club South Florida.
Go
You caught me mid-ask on Facebook because it's a leap year, so $29, make a difference. Use any opportunity to get people to engage. I'm Vilma. I'm with Gilda's Club South Florida. How many in this room have been impacted by cancer? It's a lot of you guys. Cancer, just one word, and it'll change your life. 1 in 3 U.S. families are going to hear that word in their lifetime. So when you think about that, that's a lot of people. Over 50% of cancer patients experience depression, anxiety, loss of hope. And it's not just the person who's impacted, it's their family too. So it's the whole network that really kind of gets impacted by that diagnosis. But you and your family don't have to face cancer alone, and that's where Gilda's Club South Florida comes in. We provide a free community of support for you and your family. We do this by providing support groups, healthy living workshops, educational lectures, social activities, and resources and referrals, all free of charge. We've found using a distress screening tool that regular participation in support groups decreases your feelings of depression, decreases your feelings of anxiety, and increases your feelings of hope, which long-term helps with your health outcomes and improves your quality of life. We hear it all the time at Gilda's Club that Gilda's Club changed my life, that they were given a safe space where they can talk about their struggles, challenges with people who understand exactly what they're going through, and it's the kind of things that they can't share with their spouse or that they can't, talk to their friends about. At Gilda's Club, you know exactly what you're going through because they're going through it too. So we can't do it without you. In order to continue providing our services free of charge, we need your support so that no one faces cancer alone. And today you can join us on Facebook and donate $29 for our extra, day in 2020.
All right, Lauren.
All right.
Come on, guys, clap it up.
Hi, I'm Lauren Masuzo. I'm the director of Shalva. Shalva leads the way in which we care and treat for children with disabilities in the world. It's situated in Jerusalem, Israel, serving 2,000 people on a weekly basis. 12% of the population in Israel have a disability. Non-denominational and free of charge, Shalva strives to identify a child's ability and provide the stepping stones and skills to lead an empowered and dignified life. When a family with a disabled child comes to Shalva, it's not just the child that's cared for, it's the family unit. So a therapist comes or a doctor and trains the family on how to care for that child in their home. Today, we are looking to support 50 families on a waiting list who need our care. The cost per family for an entire year around-the-clock services is $10,000. We hope you will invest with us to provide this critical support to these children and know that your impact on these families is truly life-changing. And ultimately, by supporting Shalva, you're advocating for disabled children and families all over the world. Thank you.
Okay, let's have Bibi.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Bibi Dean, the development manager at Children's Harbor, where every day children are removed from their homes due to abuse, abandonment, and neglect. Elsa got me back. More than 3,000, our CEOs are married, in case anyone doesn't know. Yeah. So
that is funny.
More than
power couple.
Yeah. More than 3,000 children are currently in the child welfare system here in Broward County. Of those 3,000 children, 95% of them are part of a sibling group. Now, I don't know if you have a brother or sister. I have 2 sisters. 95% of 3,000 is a big number. And half of those kids, when they're placed in the foster care system, are going to be removed from their sibling. So when I learned about Children's Harbor, that's what impacted me the most, because I can't imagine having been removed from not only my parents, not only my school, not only my community, but then also my sibling. So what we do at Children's Harbor is we focus on three main things. We work with keeping siblings together in foster care at our group home facility in Pembroke Pines. We work with youth that are aging out of the foster care system and moving into the independent living care unit. So those are ages 18 to 23. And we wrap them around with case management services at our Browns Harbor facility. And then we work with families in the community, where we focus on strengthening families who are in a crisis mode by wrapping them around with a case manager to come in their home. When kids are living on our campus, they're not just living somewhere where it's a bed. They're definitely at Children's Harbor. We're not a facility. We're not just somewhere that they're staying. It's their home. It's their neighborhood. It's a meal every day around the clock. It's if they want something to eat, they go in the kitchen and they make it themselves. It's a community. It's therapy when you're having a bad day. We have our therapists on site there, and they don't have to wait till next week at 3 o'clock for their appointment. If they're living there, we become their family. It reminded me when I was talking about writing this about the movie Lilo and Stitch, where they talk about Ohana means family. And in family, nobody gets left behind or forgotten. And that's how I feel about our organization. So for as little as a cup of coffee a week, $5, I know depending on where you go around here, you can impact 800 lives a year with Children's Harbor. So if you're interested, visit us at children'sharbor.org.
All right. All right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Perez. I'm the Assistant Director of Community Relations for United Community Options South Florida, affiliated with United Cerebral Palsy. We serve over 1,800 adults with developmental disabilities, adults and children with developmental disabilities throughout South Florida. We have several programs, advocacy, respite, our adult training program, and also support employment and among other programs. I'm here today as in our Broward facility, we have a need to repave and our drainage for our adult day program. We serve about 90 clients Monday through Friday at our facility, and it's an issue when it rains, it floods, and it doesn't help us unloading and loading in our clients. So that's a safety issue that we're having. We received 3 bids, the lowest being $150,000. So we hope you could. We do have proof of the floods. So it gets very bad there. We've met with the city of Fort Lauderdale, and obviously there's nothing they could do that falls on us. So please consider joining us by making a donation. Every little bit helps. Together we can make a difference in our community and help our clients live a life without limits.
Remembrance.
All right.
Yes, yes, and
I'll
yes.
get you all, I promise.
Ohio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Kareem Edwards. I'm the Director of Development for the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County. I've been working with youth in Broward County for over 25 years. I've been with the Boys and Girls Club for just over 9 years. A statistic I came across this year has disappointed me more than anything I've seen in my whole career of working with youth, even going back to when I wasn't youth, which was a long time ago, but another story. That statistic was included in the most recent Alice report. And that report said that 80,000 children in Broward County live at or near the poverty line. They live in an environment, in a home environment that subjects them to what are called adverse childhood experiences. 80,000 children In perspective, anyone know how many seats are in Dolphin Stadium? Just over 65,000. So the children in Broward County who live in need would overflow Dolphin Stadium. That's looking at the large numerical side of it. Let's talk about a few stories. There's Bryce and there's Alexis. If you've seen the news lately, you saw the story about a young man in Deerfield Beach who was dealing with homelessness in his family. There was an incidence of substance abuse, and because he couldn't bear it, the weekend before he left to go and enjoy a full scholarship in football at Georgia Tech, he stepped in front of a train. He's one of those 80,000. Let me tell you about Alexis. Alexis lived in a similar environment to Bryce. Dad lost his job and left the home. Mom was left to take care of her and 3 children. But one day Alexis was playing with one of her friends, and that friend took her to the local Boys and Girls Club. Fast forward, what is Alexis doing right now? She's a senior at St. Thomas Aquinas. She's a cheerleading captain, and she's going to study broadcast journalism next year in college. 2 situations, very similar environments, 2 different outcomes. Picture a world where those 80,000 children who overflow Dolphin Stadium have the outcome that Alexis had, and not the outcome that Bryce had. Boys and Girls Clubs of Broward County has been serving the United States for over 100 years. In Broward County since 1965. We serve 12,300 kids a year on average. And I can go on and tell you about the programs, but really what we do, we provide a safe place for kids to spend time when school is out. And because they have that safe place, guess what? The moms, in many cases who are single moms, the dads who in many cases are single dads, can go to work with peace of mind and earn a living. And as they attend the club, they gain skills and gain experiences, including scholarships. We have 10 kids going to Nova Southeastern University this year on a Rick and Rita K scholarship, 4-year scholarship. It's changing and breaking the cycle of poverty. So I invite you, as a matter of fact, I challenge you to decrease that number at 80,000 kids who would overflow Dolphin Stadium who are living in poverty. With a gift as small as $15, you can provide access to a club for a full year and enable them to change their life and that of their successive generations for years to come. Hey.
Folks feel quite victimized.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Nina McDowell, and I have the pleasure and privilege of serving as the Director of Marketing and Corporate Partnerships at the Urban League of Broward County. I have shared my story with you all a little bit as a young girl from Flint, Michigan who simply needed an opportunity. And I invite you to join me in something. Can we all just close our eyes for a moment? I promise I won't let you go to sleep. Can we think of a moment when we simply needed an opportunity? Do we have a family friend or a loved one that also just needed an opportunity? Okay, open your eyes. How many of us can identify with that statement? In Broward County, there are many individuals that are just like us, simply needing a chance. And studies have shown that where there is lack of intervention, the perpetuating cycle of poverty continues in urban communities and opportunity deserts. An opportunity desert is an area where there is absolutely minimal and limited resources in our community. This is a place of hardship and very skewed possibility. The Urban League of Broward County has been in our community since 1975. Transforming the lives of nearly 14,000 individuals annually in 6 areas through transformative solutions, that is education, entrepreneurship, jobs, justice, housing, and health. For the scholar who's seeking higher education, we connect them to our community, our college resources, our college access, our college access programs. For the job seeker who just wants to level up, we make sure that they are competitive in a market to obtain living wages. For the teen who has gotten a little bit of trouble, we make sure that they have access to a second chance. For the family who wants to purchase their first home, we ensure, wait, is that the first minute? It's my time? We ensure that that family realizes the dream of home ownership. So I invite you to join me as an agent for change. And today you can make a difference. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. That opportunity that you thought of, help give that to someone else by texting the word ADVANCE to 243725. You can text the word ADVANCE to 243725. 243725.
Jamie Spector.
And I am trying to be subtle, guys, so,
Well, see, I was confused. Was that like a half mark or like a full minute?
off your game. Sorry, I'm bringing this up for some statistics. This is what I do. How many of you graduated from high school? How many of you went to college? How many of you graduated from college? All right, a lot of hands. Where would you be if you didn't have the education that you had? If you didn't have the knowledge about going to college, if you didn't have the financial resources or knowledge of how to secure those financial resources, think about that for a minute. Think about where you would be. That is where low-income youth are right now. More than half of Miami's youth live either in poverty or in Alice. I was just looking up some data for all of South Florida, because I know we have some Palm Beach and I know we're in Broward. It's about half across the board. A little bit under half for Palm Beach, at half for Broward, and a little bit over half for Miami. They're living in Alice or in poverty. This means that they're more likely that youth living in low-income households are more likely than not, or are more likely than their financially stable peers to engage in risky behaviors, to not have that positive guidance, to not drop out of school, engage in violent behaviors, substance abuse, things along those lines. Approximately, let's see what the number was here, not in school, 6 to 7% of youth in South Florida are not enrolled in school. This is according to the American Fact Finder on the census. Everyone fill out the census, it's really important. That shameless plug there. These youth are less likely to be able to find jobs, to hold down a job. They'll make less money than youth who have graduated from high school. They are 2.5 times more likely to rely on government assistance throughout their lives, and 3.5 times more likely to experience incarceration than if they had graduated from high school. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami provides mentoring programs to counteract the risk factors, such as poverty, such as single-parent households, which I don't have time to look up the Broward and Palm Beach statistics for single-parent households, but it's about 15% for down in Miami. And these programs provide protective factors to counteract the risk factors. If we all were able to increase the graduation rate for South Florida, the Tri-County area, to 90%, we could have $950 million more dollars in state and local tax revenue, and $600 million in savings on healthcare, 500 new jobs. And so I ask you to join the movement of Big Brothers Big Sisters. Become a big. See firsthand the impact that you can have on the life of a child, and also the impact that that child will have on you. I hear all the time from bigs, I didn't realize how much this would positively impact me. It doesn't take that much time, it's so much fun. And once you experience that, it will be an easy way to invest some financial resources. It costs us approximately $1,500 to match a youth with a mentor and provide support to that match every single year. So let's say there were, let's see, number not in school, 82,000 in South Florida youth are not in school. So just 100 of those youth to match and support, to match with a mentor and provide support for 1 year, an investment of $150,000. And that could lead to incredible impacts on the community overall. Thank you.
Shawnee Wilson.
Happy Saturday!
Happy Saturday!
All right. Bear with me, guys. You have no choice. Oh, all right. Shawnee Wilson, Hispanic Unity of Florida. Families around the world move to America in search of freedom and opportunity to make life better for themselves and for their children. But their journey is often filled with great uncertainty and challenges, such as language, cultural isolation, and unfamiliar systems. Wouldn't it be great if there was a place to guide them on the journey to their American dream, to accelerate their assimilation to their new home, so that our community in turn can benefit from the vitality, skill set, talents, and potential they bring? For 38 years, Hispanic Unity of Florida has been a trusted and reliable community partner, connecting more than 430,000 children, youth, and adults in South Florida to learn English, become contributing U.S. citizens, to find better jobs, all in one place. We empower toddlers and adolescents with better education, increasing their chances to attend college or acquire a trade and build a better future. We empower adults with the tools to secure better jobs or start and grow their own businesses, methods proven to increase their chances for obtaining financial stability. Health was created as a one-stop American dream machine. We educate our new neighbors about their new home and assist them in becoming successful. Today, we provide assistance through 12 programs in 4 languages to 15,000 individuals each year across South Florida's diverse community. We are more than what our name suggests. Hispanic Unity remains the county's largest agency dedicated to all of the immigrant community. In return, these new Americans make a significant impact on our community. A workforce that takes on necessary but often unpopular jobs that provide services to others. New businesses that employ others. An economy with wider taxpayer base and increase in tax revenue. A community of engaged citizens who care about one another and our collective success. Will you share our dream of an inclusive and equitable community of successful children, strong families, and civically engaged individuals?
Morning. Morning. I'm Keith Goldman. I'm with the Jewish Federation of Broward County. I'm the Chief Philanthropy Officer. And what I'd like to do this morning is share with you a little story. It's a story about a woman named Esther. Esther is not only a recent cancer survivor, but she also recently lost her husband. As you can imagine, getting by can be quite challenging. Frail and without any family nearby to assist, preparing food and keeping her condo clean had simply become a major challenge for her. Doing laundry, as you can imagine, a monumental task. Picking up groceries nearly impossible, and trying to stretch her dollars to the last month with her ancient appliances on the brink of failure and homeowner association fees and taxes she couldn't possibly afford. It just didn't seem possible. But that's where the Jewish Federation of Broward County came in. The Federation brought Jewish Family Services and Meals on Wheels together to get Esther the help she needed. To date, a case manager has helped her apply to the Medicaid long-term care program to provide 8 hours a week of assistance. Meals on Wheels has begun starting to deliver kosher meals. We've been able to secure grocery gift cards for her. We've been able to secure a payment for a yearly appliance maintenance contract. And we've recently placed her on a community's telephone reassurance program to make sure that someone's keeping in touch with her on a daily basis. Inspire philanthropy to invest in Jewish life in Broward County, Israel, and around the world by connecting people and igniting passion. That's our mission. The Federation has been in our community since 1943 to enrich Jewish lives everywhere, to ensure the vitality of our community, to reinvigorate our capacity to respond, to energize Jewish life here in Broward, Israel, and overseas, and to renew and invest in our infrastructure. Imagine a Broward Jewish community that can address the needs of nearly 25% of seniors living at or below the poverty line. Imagine a Broward Jewish community that can make Jewish life exciting, engaging, and affordable. Imagine a Jewish Broward community that can create a long-term sustainability for the many programs and services our community offers today. What issues are you passionate about? What do you see as innovative in our philanthropic world? If you could solve any problem, what would it be and why? Answers to these questions can provide an opportunity to those like Esther that may need that extra hand. I hope you will join me as a donor in supporting our annual campaign of the Jewish Federation of Broward County. Thank you.
All right, let's have Michelle Jacobs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Michelle Jacobs. I'm Chief Philanthropic Officer at the Council on Aging of Martin County. Martin County has enormous wealth. But can you believe that many seniors try and live on less than $1,000 a month? Many are hungry, lonely, depressed, and isolated, and they don't have family nearby. We want to make it possible for them to live independently in their own homes for as long as possible. Seniors comprise about 60% of the Martin County community. The number will only increase in time. People are living longer and getting older. And as they get older, there's a greater chance that they will develop memory problems. The Council on Aging partners with Brain Matters, who conducts clinical trials right from our Kane Center. And the reason they do that is because they want to be associated with us. We have a variety of wraparound services for seniors. And we provide services that are free to the community to help seniors who have memory loss. The Council on Aging is the unparalleled resource of expertise, programming, and support for seniors in Martin County. We can help anyone who has questions and concerns about aging. Our programs touch nearly 1,000 lives every day. We have programs for active, involved seniors in the community and for those who are more fragile. The foundation of our services is our case management department, because they refer seniors to whatever program or service we provide or in the community that can best suit their needs. We have a variety of educational offerings and support groups at no charge. I'll tell you the story about David, because in Martin County, many of our seniors do not have families nearby. David lives in Connecticut, and his mom and dad are local, and he came to visit them at Thanksgiving. He noticed that after dinner, when they would sit down and have conversations, the dad would kind of fall asleep, and he knew something was not right. The mom had been ill, had memory issues, couldn't get around very well, and when he went back home, he had tried to find resources in the community. Well, he found us, and he called, and his call went to our case manager navigator. And the navigator worked with him to help have a case manager look in on the parents and arrange for Meals on Wheels arrange for the mom to attend adult day club services, which gave dad caregiver respite, and then connect through all of our programs to really help the family. So when he came back to visit his parents, he was able to see the impact that we had on his parents. He and his parents had peace of mind because of the services we provided. So I would like to ask you if you'd like to be a part of a mission that does this, and a vision that embraces, uplifts, and encourages seniors to maintain lives of quality and purpose. I would ask you to please consider a leadership gift of $10,000.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So you may know that I'm responsible for an organization called Helping Adults with Autism Perform and Excel. And we have what I would call a really just purpose. Our purpose is this. There is an underemployment rate for people with autism that is in the range of 80 to 90%. Just think about that. A person with autism is born, they have phenomenal capabilities for the most part, and they cannot get a job. And if they do get a job, can they sustain that job? Well, the answer is mostly no. And so we have a very focused purpose in our foundation, and that is to create employment, to show the way to retain people in their jobs, and to give them opportunity. Now you may say, well, autism, that's kind of a rare disease, isn't it? Well, first of all, it's not a disease, it's a disability. Nobody knows why they have autism. Nobody knows what the cause is. Nobody knows what the cure is. And so we can't address those issues. What we're addressing is the practical thing of a huge problem in Broward County and everywhere else in the United States. It is non-discriminatory. Doesn't matter your color, your creed, your race. Happens that more guys than girls get it, 4 to 1. But the thing that's astounding is that 1 in 59 births are diagnosed with autism. Anybody ever know that? That's almost like 2% of the population have autism. And it's grown 3 times in the last 10 years. 3 times, 300% growth. It's predicted that by 2030, 1 in 30 people, maybe 1 in 25 people.
1 in 2, Larry.
What?
1 in 2 by 2030.
Well, Maria. And so the point is this. We have an economic issue. We have a social issue. We have a human issue, which is we're wasting talent. If you look at the Broward County numbers alone, there are 2 million people in Broward County, which suggests that there's somewhere between 30 and 40,000 people on the autism spectrum. Think about that, 30 to 40,000 people. The average cost, $60,000 to retain them. That says there's a $2 billion problem. $2 billion a year. Our mission is to address that issue, to give self-esteem, and the way you can help us is by donating. An initial gift of $10,000, a legacy gift of $100,000 to $1 million will enable us to solve this incredible challenge. Thank you very much. All right.
Okay, and Jean Moss.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm usually not nervous to speak, but today I'm nervous. I don't know why. So, here I go. Have you ever met someone going through depression? Have you ever met someone that dropped out of high school? Have you ever met someone that was on drugs? Have you ever met a teen pregnant mom? Well, if you haven't, you just met me. I was all those things. my community and within my family. But during the process, my community or my family didn't ask what was wrong. So in the midst of it, you know the little saying, what happens in my house
stays in my house.
Not a good practice, because inside your house is someone holding some secrets. Secrets that get into the community. Secrets that continue to go on, and those secrets is incest, molestation, and rape. It's a huge problem. It's people that you work with on your jobs that are suffering in silence. It's students in your class that are suffering in silence. And while they're in that silence, their system is breaking down. So they go through the mental breakdown, they go through the physical breakdown, and their esteem is totally out the door. What are we doing about it? At Hosanna for Youth, what we do is we deal with that secret. We let you become a little comfortable with who you are and what that secret is. And we let you see that the secret don't define you. At Hosanna, we give you a chance to get supported by people who have been through what you're going through. We give you the chance to reclaim your life and take it back. You don't have to live in the darkness of that secret. Just imagine when you take light and you put it to darkness, what do you see? You get to see yourself clearly. So that's what we give an opportunity for you to become the man or the woman or the girl or the boy that they told you you could never be. All we ask at Hosanna is you show up and we'll help you with the rest. Hosanna has one-on-one counseling. We have support groups. We have a therapist that comes into our facility and sit with you if that's what you need. Whatever your journey takes you on, you will have the continual support of Hosanna. But one thing we like to ask is when you encounter a person such as us, don't treat us any different, because we might be working right beside you. So we want you to take in consideration of what you just heard and think about the statistic says 1 in 5 girls, 1 in 6 boys, but what about the 4 and the 5 in the middle? That's me. I would like for you to think about Hosanna when you decide to do something in your community or make an impact in somebody's life. Think about if you help that heart heal, you can reunite a family. And if you reunite that family, you just change the whole dynamics of your community. Thank you.
All right, Nick Metropolis.
She nailed it.
All right, round of applause.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so some of you may have heard this Chinese proverb. So there's an old Chinese proverb that says, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime. So some of you have heard it. So hello, my name is Nicholas Metropolis. I'm the Executive Director of Marine Education Initiative. According to the United Nations, in the next 80 years, over half of the world's marine habitats are estimated to be destroyed. Also, 1 in 5 people depend on fish as their primary source of protein. So our main goal at Marine Education Initiative is to combat these statistics by educating the next generation of environmental stewards to protect our oceans. So the organization is comprised of 2 main programs, our Responsible Angling Education Program and our Fishing Tournament Donation Program. In our Responsible Angling Education Program, we utilize a 30-week extracurricular environmental STEM education curriculum to educate socioeconomically disadvantaged children about their local marine environment. And we use fishing as a mechanism to educate our students about marine conservation and also the consequences of not following laws and regulations. So I want to tell you all a quick little story about our Responsible Angling Education Program, how I became Executive Director, and that kind of stuff. So it all comes back to when I was Program Director at Boca Raton, Florida in 2015. So we went to our graduation field trip at Commercial Pier by Lauderdale by the Sea. And at this field trip, all the kids went fishing on the pier. We had about 25 kids in our program. And one of the kids, Javon was his name, he saw that one of the fishermen had hooked a sea turtle on the pier. And so Javon went up to the kid and he's like, or Javon went up to the guy and he's like, man, you gotta let the sea turtle go. And he's like, no man, I'm just gonna cut the line. And Javon's like, no, you're not. And then he went back to his friends, all 25 of them. He got them, he's like, hey guys, the guy's trying to cut the line with the sea turtle. And they're like, oh no, we're going over there. And all 25 kids come over to this one guy and he's about to cut the line. And they're like, no, you cannot cut the line, we're not gonna let you. You can't do it, you're gonna kill that sea turtle. So the guy, I'm not kidding, this actually happened. The guy got up, left his phone and everything, got up on top of the pier, jumped off the pier, and swam the sea turtle and his fishing rod to shore. And then we called sea turtle rescue and everything. So that just shows like the kind of impact that we're having on these kids. We're actually inspiring them to save our oceans through education and through fishing. So that's a little short story. And I was very impacted too, because I was like, wow, this actually made a difference here. I wasn't expecting them to go and rally up to a 50-year-old guy who was way older than them. So that's a little bit about our responsible angling education program. We also have another one called our fishing tournament donation program. And in that one, we partner with local fishing tournaments to collect and clean and repurpose already caught fish at these tournaments. Because a lot of these tournaments have fish waste generated by the fishermen because they go out there and catch a lot of fish, drink beer and all that, and just try to catch as much fish as possible. So we offer a better route for them to repurpose the already caught fish to be donated to soup kitchens. So our volunteers go in there, collect the fish, clean them, and then we deliver them to various soup kitchens throughout South Florida. So over the past 12 years, we've educated over 2,300 students and provided over 4,000 meals of fresh fish to various soup kitchens throughout South Florida. We've also been recognized by numerous organizations, including Earth Island Institute, so the Sodexo Foundation, USA Weekend, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, the Clinton Foundation, and Forbes 30 Under 30. Right now, we are in a crucial growth stage in our organization, where we are in the process of trying to expand to various locations throughout the country and around the globe. And we also are hosting our new upcoming Conservation Summit in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. So I highly encourage you to join the initiative in the effort to safeguard the future of our marine ecosystems. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, this week we had a reconstruction of our whole organization, so we're going to do a lot of just reading. So bear with me. My name is Michelle Flores, and I'm a Goodwill Ambassador for the U.S. As a part of the legal team, and now as of this week, as part of the UN, working on the Sustainable Development Department. As a Goodwill Ambassador, I help identify the needs of the community and identify the needs of the people for fundraising projects. We unite humanitarians around the world by recognizing individuals who volunteer their time to help make a difference in our world to make it a better place. We recognize people from every nation, regardless of color, race, social economics, who do goodwill towards others. We exercise no bias. We are non-political, apolitical, and everyone needs to be free of hatred. We stand strong with the United Nations. We are an unbiased group with over 16,000 humanitarians. We are in 215 nations across this world, building bridges to save lives one person at a time. We are like no other organization on the planet. Our strength is through our connections inside every country. And this has proven to have changed the minds of countries and governments. Being human comes with a responsibility to grow into a humanitarian, to care beyond oneself. Being a humanitarian means helping people who are suffering and sharing lives anytime, any place in the world. So humanitarian work requires being responsible, conscious of circumstances of other people's lives and helping them on the basis of need without discrimination of any kind. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Is it not? If you could feed 100 people, if you can't feed 100 people, could you feed just one? Have you thought about that? Since the world has existed, there has been injustice. But there is only one world, and it becomes smaller and more accessible every day. There is just no question that there is more obligation for everyone to give to make a difference. I dedicate my time, my money, because I believe in my purpose here on earth is to make the world a better place to live. I fight.
Let's wrap up to the ask.
Okay. Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation's goal is to make the world a better place and safer place for our children's children. Which is the future of which is the future of humanity? Which of the future of or human rights of our children will you be saving? Let me do that again. Which of the future of our human rights of our children are you willing to save today? Are you willing to join me in making a difference? Do you know what your purpose is?
All right, so before we get back on track with the rest of the pitches, Dean Rosman actually just walked in, so I don't know if you'd want to come up front potentially. Yeah, big round of applause. Pitch Fest up front. Want to say a few words?
I'll just quickly thank you all for participating in this. First of anything is very special. This is the first time that we've done this through the generosity of a grant from the Sanford Institute. I was thrilled when I heard how eager and how everybody took to the content, to the curriculum. I couldn't believe that the first time out that we got a full packed room like this. So this is wonderful for me to see. I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to help the community. I'm new to the community. I'm from the Connecticut, New Jersey area as of last September. But what I've come to realize in the last 5 months or so that I've been here is that this is a very philanthropic community. There are, I believe it's something like over 6,000 not-for-profits just in this, I think it's in the Broward County area, which is incredible, and how important not-for-profits are of all types to our society, but also to philanthropy and raising money for very good causes. So when we had this opportunity to do this, I was so happy. I was so thrilled with the opportunity. I couldn't be happier with our colleagues, Megan and with Chase, with the others, Fred and Sal, right? And I think Tom I don't know if Tom was involved with this, but Tom was not involved with this particular project. But it's great that they spent, that poor Tom. Well, he didn't have a wonderful opportunity to be with this energetic room, which is great. So I'm thrilled that they took, as they say, the bull by the horns and ran with this. And it's a great opportunity for us to continue to help the community through our being able to train and develop philanthropists and the philanthropist seekers, if you will, right? And that's what your responsibilities are. So I hope that we've made a little bit of a difference in your life. Please tell others about the program, and then tell others about the program that we're going to be starting, which is an outgrowth of this, which is this Master's in Philanthropy and Not-for-Profit Management. The success of this program motivated us to develop that degree program. It's going to be bigger. You know, you have much more content in a curriculum that's 10 courses. So it's an opportunity for you to take this to the next level. But certainly as we roll out more of these types of workshops, please let your friends and colleagues know about it. And again, just thank you for participating.
And just to piggyback, before the applause, in your packets, these two flyers,
Never
one
stop
of them,
applause, by the way.
yeah, go for it. So these two flyers in the back of your packets, just to piggyback off of what Dean Rosman was saying, on the left we have the next Fundraising Academy, which is actually coming up in October through December. So if you all had a great experience in this one, we encourage you to get the word out to your extended nonprofit network. And then again, we have a new master's program in philanthropy and nonprofit management. All of the details front and back on this flyer will be there, and we're happy to speak with anybody about that afterward. So again, just thank you, Dean Rosman, and without further ado, we'll jump right back into the Pitch Fest. And let me just find my list, we'll get somebody. Amanda Martin, would you like to come up? All right, big round of applause. All right, here you go. Thank you. This one's back. Oh.
All right, guys, as he said, I'm Amanda Martin. I'm with Mission Resolve Foundation. We are a newer nonprofit, less than a year old, so I'll start with that. But I want you guys all to look around right now. I'm looking at desks and looking at water bottles. Count the number of water bottles, count the number of plastic plates, plastic forks. It's something that we use every day, and it's a big problem. And this is just one classroom in one day. With all these environmental challenges we face, like ocean plastics and sea level rise, natural disasters, what does our future hold? And how do we make changes and improvements toward a better future? We believe our youth is the solution to a better future. Mission Resolve Foundation is working with science experts and innovative teachers to develop a program using problem-based learning. It's a method that uses complex real-world problems as the vehicle to promote student learning. This way of teaching promotes critical thinking, it promotes communication skills, and it promotes problem-solving skills as well. The curriculum in many of our schools lacks this creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. They teach to a test rather than engaging students to feel like they can be a part of a solution in their everyday world. They don't feel empowered, and they don't feel like they can do something to change our world. And because one of our passions at Mission Resolve Foundation is the environment, our Mission Possible program is taking real-world environmental problems, like ocean plastics, and bringing them into the classroom. So we're developing a pilot program now with New River Middle School. It's a Broward County Marine Science Magnet School, and they're already using problem-based learning in their classroom. They have ROV programs, they have entrepreneurship programs. It's a very innovative school. And research shows that this problem-based learning has proven to engage students in deep learning and change attitudes, as well as instill professional skills that they may not develop in a regular classroom setting. And I want you guys to think back to when you were a kid in school. Do you remember the teachers who taught to the tests and the standards and put videos on for you guys just to watch mindlessly? Or do you remember those teachers that engaged with you and made you think differently, made you think about your world and how you can make a difference in your world, and made learning exciting, not just something they have to do every day? Can you imagine if students came up with the biggest solutions to some of our largest environmental issues? How empowered and motivated they feel. They learn skills that would be invaluable in the job market today. So we also have this 216-foot vessel. I'm just going to plug it in because it's something very different in our program. It's a environmental and humanitarian response vessel. So we've used it for hurricane relief. If you remember Jacques Cousteau's Calypso, you'll know what I'm talking about and why having this vessel as part of the program is such an exciting thing and really will make students feel like they're part of exploration, part of something different in the environment. So teaching youth in a way that engages them and makes them feel empowered is something that our world needs, and it's something that could revolutionize education. And so we hope that you join us in this powerful mission and supporting our organization and what we're trying to do with these programs in the schools.
All right, round of applause for Morgan.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How many of you remember being a teenager? How many of you have teenagers in your life? How many of you have teenager girls in your life? Or remember being a teenage girl? Oh. Being a teenage girl can be hard. Raging hormones, peer pressure, girls, boys, right? Body image issues. We all remember, or we know from our own kids. But add to that extreme poverty, parental neglect, anxiety, depression, physical and sexual abuse. Life can be downright impossible. Most of the girls that come to PACE Center for Girls walk in the door feeling resentful, unheard, and lost. They're at risk of flunking out of school, getting pregnant, going to juvenile justice system, living on the streets, and even entering the sex industry. No one wants that for their future. Our mission at PACE Center for Girls is to give our girls an opportunity for a better future through training, counseling, education, and advocacy. We help our girls get back on track academically. With our day program, we offer small class sizes, academic counseling, special education accommodations, and a safe and comfortable learning environment year-round. We help our girls heal their trauma with one-on-one counseling, individual and family therapy, trauma-informed training for our staff, and positive programming and mentoring. We help our girls plan for their future with life coaching, soft skills training, college readiness programming, and career preparation and mentoring. But most importantly, at PACE Center for Girls, we help girls find their voice, find their strengths, and find their greatness. I ask you today to join me in this mission because we have a lot of work to do, but there is a big future ahead of us. Thank you so much.
Jeanette?
Yes. Okay. If this is real, that's what I would do. I'll do it after. You can after? Yes. Okay. I'll do it after the class. Okay. I have a handout, but I can't. I'm going to distribute it after class. And let me get ready. For my pitch, I am imagining this pitch being a United Way workplace campaign pitch. So typically you go out to the companies and you give a pitch and you fundraise to get people to give a donation weekly through their payroll. It says payroll deduct. Here we go. And I apologize because it's probably not going to be 2 minutes. Okay, so my name is Jeanette Taylor and I'm the Executive Director of Education Rocks in Delray. We provide leadership opportunities for you. And before I get into the details of who we are, I have 3 questions for you. Did you know that 1 in 5 children in developing nations lack access to education? They literally can't go to a bus stop, get on the bus and go to school. It's not an opportunity for them. Of the countries where Education Rocks serve, one of the countries that we serve, the total population has 50%, that's adult and children, who are completely illiterate. Another country where we serve, we have children who, once they reach 3rd grade, that's the end of their public education. If their family can't afford to send them to private school, that's it. And one of the other countries where we serve, if your family can't pay $50 for your tuition fee for school, then you are then basically literally sent to the rice fields to work. And the life trajectory is based on menial jobs where you're scrapping to make ends meet. Did you also know that for what you spend for 1 coffee a week at Starbucks, you can send a kid to school in a developing nation for a whole week, for a whole year? We spend $7 on a latte. Half of it, we don't know what's in the latte, but for $7, you literally can send a child to school and fund their entire education.
So with that, I'm saying education, to me, I feel like that's a basic human right. And it's not just something that we deserve here in the United States, it's something that all children deserve. What we do at Education Rocks, we provide a platform for young people to emerge as philanthropists. We do leadership development, we provide curriculum training for them in an after-school program, and also in their AVID leadership development program. We provide them a platform to fundraise, so our students in the U.S. commit to raise $365 to sponsor a student in one of our developing countries. We are currently in Indonesia, Guatemala, India, Uganda, and Haiti. So as our students are emerging as global leaders, we are literally ending, I'm not going to say we're ending poverty, because that's not a real thing, but we are ending the cycle of poverty for some of these families and giving these kids opportunities to have upward mobility, to raise money for their families and get them out of extreme situations of poverty. We're currently in 53 schools nationally and working in the 5 developing countries that I mentioned. So just pretend for a moment that I'm Morpheus from the Matrix. I have my black jacket back there. And I'm going to tell you how we can solve this, like, very simply, and that is with Education Rocks. Our program literally connects our students here in the U.S. who are going through this leadership development. They participate in summits, they participate in curriculum training, and they do their own little fundraising. We had a phone-a-thon last week, and they raised $13,000 on their own within 2 hours, thanks to our great program director. So these things happen because we give these students in the U.S. a platform to be leaders and to take a stand for students in other countries. With that, I want to tell you that Education Rocks has been around for 10 years, but it's been around for 10 years, but it was really a mom and pop startup nonprofit. Over 3,000 of the students internationally have been in the program, and about 65% of them go off to college. Of those students, in general, 90% of them increase their earning potential because they have an education that goes through the 12th grade, and it doesn't stop at 3rd grade or 5th grade. The U.S. students that we help and lead, they emerge as leaders in their community, schools, and in their social circles, and those kids go off to college. We're at about 70% because we haven't been tracking. This is why data is so important. We haven't been tracking that information until recently. But what we're doing is changing the lives of kids here in the U.S. as they emerge as global leaders, and changing the lives of kids and their families in developing nations where access to education is limited. So I'm asking you, I am not Morpheus, I'm not going to make you choose between the red and the blue pill, but I am asking you to take a stand for these kids. You can literally, for $7 a week on your payroll deduct, you can sponsor a kid to go to school for a whole year. That will literally change the life trajectory of those families in these developing nations, and it'll also create an equitable society for all of us. So will you donate through your United Way payroll deduct and give Education Rocks an opportunity to build leaders in the U.S. and help solve a problem of poverty with children who don't have access to education globally? I do have handouts that I want to give you because a lot of you have access to kids, and it's just, our program is really unique. We have a platform where the kids can actually go to the countries in the summer. So we're going to Guatemala, we're going to Bali. But I just want to share that with you, and I'll put them on the back table back there. But if you're interested in sharing this information and having your kids donate or and have that connection with the student, let us know.
All right.
I like how strategic you guys are too when you're like averting from looking at me. You know?
When they see that pen goes, it's a whole other story. Yeah, thank you. Do not. I did. It takes just one.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Donna Chen, and I'm the Director of Development and Membership for Flamingo Gardens, Botanical Gardens and Wildlife Sanctuary in Davie. John James Audubon, the famous naturalist and artist, visited South Florida for the first time in the early 1800s. And when he came, he observed flocks of wading birds flying up in the air. There were so many, they appeared in such great numbers that they totally eclipsed the sunlight, if you can even imagine that. And you can't, because Now today, there is one bird for every 10 birds that Audubon saw back in the 1800s. As South Florida's growing population, as we continue to grow, more wildlife habitat is depleted. And the number of threatened or endangered animal and plant species grows. The loss of one species has a profound effect on our ecosystem. For example, our bird population. The birds control pests, they pollinate plants, they spread their seeds through their droppings, which, you know, sounds kind of, ooh, but that's how we protect our eroding coastlines, through them seeding our lands. They store carbon, which helps keep our climate stable. So, Flamingo Gardens releases hundreds of rehabilitated birds into the wild each year, like the 3 orphaned infants that are screech owlets that came to us last week. I got to hold one of them, 3 days old. The reason why they came to us was because a new development displaced their nest, okay, and they were orphaned. So we raise them till they're able to go out on their own, and then they can go back into the wild. Now, some of the non-releasable animals that we keep, we have over 450 non-releasable animals because they are injured beyond extent of repair. Some of them give birth, and their offspring we raise until we can release them back into the wild. We also preserve 60 acres of native and exotic plants and trees. Many are endangered. As important as our actual conservation efforts are, our education efforts are just as important. We have almost 200, are we at 2 minutes already? Oh boy. We have over 200 visitors a year that come through. 30,000 of them are children on field trips. They come through in environmental field trips. A lot of them, it's the first time they have ever been in touch with nature. We inspire them, we make them our ambassadors, our advocates. They visit our pollinator gardens and learn about the importance of bees and see our injured animals, learn about their stories. So my call to action to you is, our efforts require the support of our community, from those like us who care about our native wildlife and our environment. Would you allow me to schedule a tour with you to learn more about our gardens and our mission so that we can see how you can best support our mission? And also, if any of you are looking for something to do tomorrow night, I have my annual food and wine benefit going on at 5 p.m. in the garden, surrounded by peacocks and 200-year-old live oak trees, a lot of good food and wine and dancing. Thank you.
Let's have Eduardo go up. Big round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Eduardo Fajardo, and I'm co-founder of On My Own. Did you know that 3 out of 4 adults with intellectual disabilities live at home with their parents that are 60 or older? These individuals soon will face homelessness, and if they're lucky, they will end up living in a group home, possibly may not be suitable for them. On My Own, a 501c3 corporation that specializes in training young adults with disabilities, is aware of this situation. We are concerned about the future of these individuals. We develop a program that helps them acquire independent living and job skills. Also, we have engaged with businesses in the community to take our students as apprentices with the end goal to get them full-time employment. Businesses do not realize that employing people with disabilities have a lot of benefits. Their work ethic is outstanding. They do not get involved in drama. They don't make up excuses to avoid going to work. And most important, the businesses got tax benefits when employing people with disabilities. We know that firsthand because we were blessed with our with our daughter Hannah, a beautiful 22-year-old that is intellectually impaired. With training our persistence, Hannah got a job at Publix. She's celebrating her 5th anniversary. Hannah will soon become independent. She will be renting her own apartment, sharing an apartment with a roommate, sharing expenses, and achieving her dream to live on her own. Of course, she will need supervision of an independent living coach that On My Own will provide. This is what we want for all our On My Own students to live their own lives. Your donation will enable On My Own to train these individuals, maintain our network of independent living coaches, and reach out and expand our reach of potential employers. You can help our students succeed and reaching their independence. Thank you.
Let's have Shirley Vargas. All right, round of applause.
Good morning. Did you know that over 50% of children in foster care nationally are under 8 years old? Meet the Lewis's family, aging from 1 year to 9 years old. Meet the Ayala family, from 9 months to 8 years. These children came into the foster care system because of being neglected, abandoned, or because their parents have made poor choices. But they all have one thing in common, and that is a place to call home. And that is SOS Children's Villages, where our main focus is to keep the sibling groups together. At SOS, we believe that every child should grow up in a loving and a stable family. My name is Shirley Vargas, and today I'm asking you, would you help the Lewis's family build a future in a loving and caring home? There are many different ways you can get involved and make an impact in the lives of our children. I'm here to help you find a way. Thank you.
All right, Tracy?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's my bow tie? Beautiful. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. If you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or little ones in your life that you are close to, raise your hand. Awesome. So what happens? If they have an accident, like a fall, they scrape their elbow, what do we usually do? We tend to go to them immediately to try to help them. And that can usually get fixed up pretty quickly, right? Mm-hmm. With a magic kiss for you, boo-boo-boo, a Band-Aid. Now imagine being a parent of a child who lives with constant pain that won't heal with a magic kiss. It won't even heal in a few days or a few weeks.
That's the reality for 1.7 million children in the U.S. Bowtie Kids exists to support, nurture, and empower children and families impacted by chronic pain through education and support programming so that they can live a quality life. And we define chronic pain as a constant physical pain that limits and interferes with the childhood experience. Our goal is to provide families and children with tools to help them feel emotionally and socially empowered. We do that with experiential learning activities through our 5 empowerment principles: self-discovery, self-awareness, self-worth, self-expression, social engagement, and advocacy. We offer 3 programs: KEYS, Kids Experiencing Empowered Support, our monthly peer-to-peer support group; Bowtie Gardens, our Tower Farm and Urban Farming program; and Camp Keys, our mobile enrichment camp. We package it up, we bring it to your location, we have a full day of activities for kids and families. So how can you support Bowtie Kids? Many ways. We're going to start with one: becoming a founding 50 member. $50 a month will support us in helping these families and children who are impacted by chronic pain come together. 2, buy a bow tie. Quick, easy, simple. 25% of the bow tie sold at thebowtiegirl.com, girl spelled with a U, goes back to Bowtie Kids. 100% of the tie the knots line goes back to Bowtie Kids. So when you're ready, buy a bow tie, support Bowtie Kids by becoming a founding 50 member.
Okay, so just very quickly, we still have a handful of people to go, but we decided to cater lunch for you all because we're just so ecstatic to have you. So let's take a quick 5-10 minutes, go grab sandwiches, go grab food, and then come back in and we'll start back up.
Thank you.
May I also?
Oh, tickets online. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it from Donna.
She'll get it from me.
I'll get it from her. No worries. Yeah, right.
It's such a fun time, and I should have brought the invitation cards. They're in my trunk.
Right.
I'm going on like 2 or 3 hours of sleep since tomorrow's the event. But,
You don't know anything about that, do you?
Oh, you know, I know about lots of days. They just all kind of went together eventually.
Our theme is the masquerade, and some people are dressing up, and some are not. Some are coming like Phantom of the Opera. I'm not dressing up.
No,
but
you have to.
No, because I'll be running around.
Oh, I get it.
I do have a top that's got a peacock.
So you'll be in
on it.
theme at least.
I'll have peacock.
Okay.
Going on.
Oh, so cool. I might see my husband has
It's fun.
anything planned for us
Dancing. We've got 21 different restaurants and beverage purveyors that'll be doing tastings and.
That sounds like an amazing time. I want to.
And if you decide you're going to come, we're going to be shutting down online reservations sometime today, but you can do a walk-up too.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
Or you can call till the end of the day.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
And you did it great. Okay. Yeah. I
Yes, and I was trying to
And there might be one course.
I've been there many times, and I've gotten out. It's actually a good thing. Get out. You know, long term, it's a day. Yeah, it's a dream job too.
Yeah, but this is full-time thing, obviously. We'll be able to come up with we did right. Yeah, times every Saturday, right now to do that. So she was like having a little balance. Yeah, so it's like maybe the next 8 weeks is to be able to class or to build on one piece of face. Right. So it's a network. It's not serious. Yeah. It's not like I get you.
Yeah.
Hi, Saul.
How are you? Good.
And then there's any kind of like, people like when I teach you this, pulling in healthy information. I know you mentioned it in class. Yes, I do want to do that.
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm like, fine.
Lawrence.
Granted, I focus on kids writing the pyramid, but this is a terrible example of my persuasion. So I literally was like, I was like, okay, 2 minutes.
That woman over there had me working.
That's not right.
But
No. So Lawrence started a coalition of organizations that help out mentally challenged children. So with our
you brought together a conglomerate of other organizations that are supporting
so similar thing that should exist for other types of organizations that share sort of the share a similar mission or vision. Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It's like there's somewhere along the line, I don't know where, some people believe that there is an organization that isn't unique to me, and so they have this sort of misconception that all these people are in a nonprofit because these needs aren't being met. That there's organizations that need. That and also the perception that running a nonprofit is as easy as running extremely more difficult. Yeah, and so there's this sort of weird mentality that exists out there where the people are misinformed and malinformed or not off. So
expectation to me like this is like
the organizations are starting to and then you start going
I know, I think I got this, but I don't know better.
And especially in the sector, I feel like it's like
Which is great.
Oh yeah, I think about it.
Unless the engine is trying to be really shiny.
So I got to sometimes in California, so I got to yeah. So, but I also I followed up with him after I sent the email, and I asked him if there was opportunity that there were people you know and people contact Lauren.
Had I known that
That's what I told him. She got some
I know. One of the songs we look around. I'm like, look around. I know. It's really good on that. I'm like, oh.
Did you get that side? Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
So this is a suggestion. No, we're going for that. You know, we're running the same Fundraising Academy at the same content. But will there be, I guess, potentially going forward, talking to you any potential possibility for another workshop?
I guess she's starting to.
Absolutely.
You say that's all. No
Okay, it should have sent.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Are you good?
Yes.
Let me get you your certificate. What you should be able to do on my business card, that one website, I think it's yeah. If you go to that website, it'll go and it shows you all the webinars in like a video. And so, if not, then I would just say that. They said.
My boss asked.
I wish. Yes.
Will the fall? Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Absolutely. Hope to see you again soon.
Yes.
If Shalva has any events or anything, let us know.
I will. I will.
attend.
Thank you.
I don't believe so. I think it's going to be like the same setup as this one. But like truthfully, so I don't really know yet what's going to happen. So I would like. It was a lot of like academic issues. So like because we have students involved, and we kind of like running with the students. We made like a decision that all the schedules have now been changed, so we had to rechange all the schedules. So it wasn't really our choice on the time. You know, it was just kind of like something we were stuck with. But trust me, if it was up to me, we would not be here on Saturday.
Morning, at least you
Yeah,
come and you get it out of the way.
It worked out great. We've had a lot of people that did not attend this one. Because again, I mean, this was a amazing turnout, but we had a lot more people that actually reached out to us that didn't attend, that saw it and were interested and ended up just not coming. And a lot of them were suggesting, you know, the ability to just have like night class or something just because of the weekends they were available. And we've taken that into consideration, but yeah, but like Dr. Topham is a professor like for the class, so we're kind of like killing two birds, one stone. So she's a course professor and there's like actual students involved in this, and then she's also in the Academy. So if it was up to me, we wouldn't have to abide by the academic schedule, but because of like the little integration, we have to follow the same schedule. Got a line? All right. Awesome. Alright, that is not a fire alarm, guys. That is a door that somebody opened incorrectly. Yeah.
There's a viewer vote.
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta head out. Thank you so So like, still.
Okay, so we're going to start back up while everyone keeps eating.
I'm going to do it after my job with
As soon as you feel confident, yeah.
Swallow, choo-choo. Oh, you guess what?
Ready?
Of course you're going to call me up while I'm eating.
Megan.
You needed an extra little challenge.
This one's back? Oh.
I needed an extra little challenge.
Put it down.
Get my challenge every day. My name is Karen Prescott, founder and CEO of Water Kids, Hurricane Comprehensive Kid Delivery Chronic Pain. Have anyone here ever had a headache? Raise your hands. If you never had a headache, raise your hands. Could you imagine your head hurting 24/7, all day long at a max of 10? Could you imagine that? How do it make you feel? Grumpy, fatigued, want everybody to leave you alone, right? According to studies at Boston's Children's Hospital, 1.7 million kids live with chronic pain. This is pain at 3 months or more. Whether it's 11:10 or it's 11:2 or it's 11:3, they're hurting 24/7. So imagine if you had a headache 24/7. Depression, anxiety, attempted suicide, they're 3 times more likely to have these challenges. And we know these kids right now, the suicide level has risen, right? And the general population. And kids with chronic pain is 3 times likely for that to happen. What's our solution? I want our kids who want to focus on self-awareness, self-worth, self-expression, social engagement and advocacy. And one of the things I get to do is really advocate for these kids, bring awareness to the community. Most of you don't know that's been my journey. Why multi-kids was born. I've been through depression. I've been through the anxiety. I have been through attempted suicide. Why? All because my pain was at level 10, 24/7. Am I relieved from chronic pain? No. It's still been my journey. However, through exercise, meditation, with my plants, different engagements, social engagements, changing the way I eat, I have been able to kind of moderate it and live with it and be able to stand and be able to do good and be able to advocate for kids that can't speak for themselves. Now you hear kids, two of the leading cause is headaches and stomach aches. And you know what happens? They go to school and they complain about a headache all day long, and the kids' parents and the teachers say, "Oh, you just don't want to do your homework. Oh, you just don't want to do the housework." And the people that they trust fail them. So that's one of my jobs. My ask today, because I'm getting the 2-minute warning. My ask today is to connect with each one of your organizations and give a 10-minute presentation so I can advocate for these kids, so I can bring awareness to chronic pain. So most people don't know what chronic pain is. You don't see it. My hands are not broken, my feet are not broken, but yet still, I hurt every day. And I want to and help educate the rest of the world, and I can do that for each one of you. So please reach out to me today and help me spread the word.
All right, Barbara Norland.
So somebody just give me a single if I have lettuce in my teeth or something. Great, thanks, right after I ate. Good afternoon, my name is Barbara Norland and I am a philanthropist. I'm delighted to be here today. This has been really fun. I am a two-way communicator, so instead of just speaking out to you, I've asked Morgan to engage with me. So we're going to do a little role play. Hey Morgan, how are you? It's great to see you.
Hey Barbara, so what are you up to lately?
You know, thanks so much for asking, Morgan. You know, I am really, really passionate about kids. I'm passionate about nonprofits, and I'm passionate about philanthropy. So, Morgan, do you know what is the common thread between horses and foster children?
I don't, actually.
Unfortunately, many are unspeakably neglected, abused, or abandoned by their caregivers. When people think of South Florida, they think of sun, sand, surf. They don't think of horses, yet Florida ranks number 3 in the nation with a population of over 500,000. Coincidentally, as we heard from BB and Shirley, that there are almost 20,000 kids in foster care in Florida. South Florida being the largest region in the state with a population of over 6,000, and that number is growing at an alarming rate of 22% a year. As a brand new nonprofit, the mission of the Angel Hugs Foundation is unique in that we are looking to create one-on-one interactions with 4 rehabilitated, abandoned, and neglected horses with marginalized, at-risk foster youth to encourage healing and inspiration for both in their otherwise broken world. We know that a horse's innate instincts enable them to quickly assess new and unfamiliar situations by processing and observing external cues. This fight or flight reaction is a visual statement of how individuals can also learn healthy responses and behaviors to confront unexpected challenges or any negative aspect of their life. We also know that by interacting with these horses, we are witnessing how our foster kids can mindfully communicate and control themselves using verbal and nonverbal cues. The insights that are gained from any interaction and observations with our 4 rehabbed horses is the stepping stone to building positive self-confidence by removing oneself from danger and communicating in a healthy manner. With the basic of training and tools, we expose foster youth to address their own weaknesses and strength and the necessary balance of maintaining positive forward thinking. So, Morgan, I would love to invite you out to our ranch so you can learn more and see firsthand the impact that we have with our abandoned horses and our foster children. I am hopeful that you will be so moved that you will join me and be part of the Angel Hugs Foundation by pledging $1,000 annually. This is just $83.33 a month, or basically a glass of wine, to help change and save the life of a rescued horse and a child. Thanks for asking me what's going on.
Alclavia Brown.
Woo! Woo!
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Y'all sure eating good. Y'all saved me some? Okay. Good morning. My name is Alclavia Brown. I am the case manager of the Able Youth Force at William Dandy Middle School. The Urban League has been around for about 44 years. 45 years, excuse me. And we change lives. Not only do we empower, we transform lives.